check me, boo.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So before we get started, remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll see every time that I post. Give this video a thumbs up if you like the content, and anything you want to add, feel free to do so down in the comment section below. So we are in the last episode, the season finale of Little Fires Everywhere. So they gave us a little bit more than an hour, which I was like, okay. And okay, let's get into it. Okay, so we start off with a young Richardson children family. They're outside of the house and they're running a lemonade stand during what I can assume is the summer. Lexi is as bossy as you would expect her to be, and they send Izzy back to the house to get sugar. Well, Izzy finds a red cardinal, and the kids end up in the house because Izzy took the bird into the house because it was wounded. They take the bird in the house, and now they're trying to get the bird out of the house. Well, Elena comes home, and Elena, of course, comes in freaking out who's responsible. So Lexi couldn't wait. It was Izzy. I was like, oh, you annoying as a child too, huh? I see. So, of course, you know, Elena's like, oh, well, I gotta clean the mess up, you know, of course, already upset with Izzy. And then we see that the cardinal actually left behind a feather. So that's actually the feather that Mia took a couple episodes ago when she was like rounding up some of their stuff. Hopping back into present time. So apparently Bill is not sleeping in the same room as Elena. She woke up, he's not in the bed. So she goes to the kitchen, and Bill comes through, and he's looking at her like he's looking at her like he's disgusted with her or whatever. And she's like, oh, you know, we don't want the kids to see. And Bill was like, I ain't done none of that. He's like really giving her like the cold shoulder. We know it's because of what he's found out, but she just thinks it's because of everything that's going on right now with the custody case. Elena goes to the trash can in their kitchen, and she finds Izzy's shoes. So she runs back upstairs with Izzy's shoes, and she, you know, throws them in Izzy's room. She's like, oh, you knew I was gonna bring these back to you. And so Izzy gets smart. Izzy's like, well, isn't that what we do in this house when we don't want things? We just throw them in the trash. And she's referring back to the fact that she found all of her pictures cut off from the Christmas cards that Elena had thrown away. And so like Elena just leaves out of her room in a huff. On the opposite side of that, she goes to Lexi's room, and Lexi is in her room boohoo crying because her and Brian broke up. So Elena goes in and she comforts her, and she's like, oh, you know, you're young, you're in high school, you know, you always think that your relationships are gonna last long when you're in high school, but you're gonna go off to Yale and you're gonna find somebody better and somebody who's more compatible to you. So if you need to stay home today from school, you can. I was like, that is not a reason to be staying home from school. Get up, go to school, you're gonna be all right. Mia and Pearl's, Mia is trying to smooth things over with Pearl, but Pearl is not trying to hear it. Y'all remember last episode at the end, Elena brought Pearl home. Elena has told Pearl everything, and Mia is telling Pearl, like, let me explain everything to you. Pearl's like, I don't want to hear anything because all you do is lie. You lie about why we have to move around. You lied about my dad not wanting me. You just lie every time you open your mouth. She also tells Mia that she's a hypocrite for judging. Today is the final day of the custody hearing. So Linda is actually on the stand today, and she's being cross-examined by BB's lawyer. Given this whole I'm an upstanding citizen background, you know, I do my community service, I'm a great person, yada 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 yada. In this cross-examination, the lawyer asks Linda, like, how are y'all acknowledging, you know, and dealing with the fact that, you know, she's an Asian child, a Chinese child. And so Linda's like, oh, you know, we want to make sure that she raised and she knows her culture, this, that, and the third. And they kind of get into this battle about it comes out, excuse me, that Linda and Mark, her husband's name, Linda and Mark actually checked for a white child when they were doing their going to like adoption agencies to be able to adopt a child. So, but Linda says it didn't matter because, you know, once they held Mei-Ling, they knew that she was the child for them, and that's the child that they wanted. They don't care about her race, this, that, and the third. I was like, oh, Lord. So she actually gets off the stand a little bit broken. She's like, you know, I'm this child's mother. I've been here for the last couple months raising her. I didn't abandon her outside. I'm so sick and tired of hearing she abandoned the child. She left her to die. She didn't leave the child to die. Y'all refuse to accept the fact that the woman didn't have no other options, really. She's an illegal immigrant. Like, she couldn't go to the police and be like, hey, I need help. They was gonna lock her up and well, ship her back off to where she came from. So y'all need to get it together. The judge is like, okay, well, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna deliberate, I'll let y'all know what I decide the verdict is gonna be. Mia is walking through a grocery store and she has a cassette tape playing of the background history of Shaker. So the man in the headphones is like, you know, Shaker's an upstanding town. It's been integrated, and you know, there are no issues within races, this, that, and the third. But then right as he's saying that, Mia walks past this older white woman, and she grabs her purse when she sees Mia, and so Mia's like, okay, whatever. So right as that happens, the guy in the headphones, the narrator, he's like, but that's not true. He's like, you know, even though this is the, you know, picture that Shaker puts out, you know, that they're diverse and they accept all races, it's not true. They when they were integrating Shaker, actually all of the white citizens moved out of the town because they didn't want to be in the town with black people, and so they actually had to pay the white people to actually move back into town and to stay. So I was like, wow, they had to pay y'all just for y'all to stay. Like, it ain't that serious. So Mia buys all of this flour, and so she goes home and she's mixing it up in her bathtub, and she goes in her art room, of course, and she starts making something. I'm like, what is she doing? It looks like she's making a mess, but we'll get there. Linda takes her nosy behind over to Linda's, and she's asking Linda how she's doing. And as she's talking to Linda, she's like telling Linda like, oh, maybe we should still, you know, dig up some dirt on BB and see, like, maybe she didn't want Maylene to begin with. And I'm like, Elena, let it go. Like, the judge is about to deliberate now. Like, even if you are right, like, it's over, let it go. So in this same moment, Maylene finally says mama. I guess I'll call her Maribel now. Maribel finally says mama to Linda. So that was a really happy moment for her. Now, Bill comes home, and Bill don't look too happy to be pulling up at Chateau Richardson, but when he comes home, he finds a trash bag on the front lawn. So he already knows who it's from. He takes it up to Izzy, and he's like, you're just gonna have to keep all of this stuff. He tells her, he was like, you've got 3 more years, and you can go off and be whoever you want to be and do whatever you want to do. Just keep your head down in the sand, and, you know, you'll make it out. So she asked him, she's like, well, is that what you're doing? Because clearly she's noticed that he's not talking to Elena. He's just kind of going through the motions, like living in the house with the two. Bill gets mad at her when she says this just a little bit. He storms out of her room in a huff as well. Next morning, I don't know where Mia is, but Pearl's eating breakfast, and she sees all the empty bags, excuse me, of flour in the trash can. So she's like, okay, what's this about? So she actually goes into Mia's art room, which we already know that's a sacred place. Nobody's supposed to be in there unless Mia's in there. And Mia has made a model of Shaker Heights out of the flour, which I was like, oh, that's cool. I've never seen anybody do that before. I was like, okay. So she's got like where the school is, and you know, just everything around the house, who lives where and what. And so Pearl also sees all the other stuff that Mia's been doing. So you remember in the very first episode when Mia set fire to that large blown up picture of Elena, she sees that on the wall, and she sees just all the things that Mia's been doing in her art room. So Pearl storms off to Mia's room, and she's like, is this what you've been doing? You kind of been like stalking Elena's life, keeping up with when she goes here and when she does that. And Pearl says something to the fact that, you know, Elena cares more about me than you do. And Mia's like, Elena doesn't care about you. The only reason she told you what she told you was to get back at me. And Pearl's like, no, that's not true. And I was like, baby, yes it is. She's miserable in her life, so she's trying to make everybody else's life miserable too. Before Pearl leaves, Pearl tells Mia, she said she wants her to call Joe, and Mia's like, I can't do that. And Pearl says, well, if you can't do it, I'm pretty sure Atlanta would be happy to do it for me. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure her messy ass would be happy to do it for you. So apparently Mia still has the phone number for Joe. She hesitates before she calls, but she calls, and when she calls, Maddie answers the phone. And so she asked for Joe, but Maddie says, you know, he's not here, but this is Maddie. And Mia is really quiet on the phone or whatever. And it takes Maddie a second, but then she realized, she's like, she calls Mia's name, she's like, Mia. And so then Mia hangs up the phone. But now Maddie knows that, you know, Mia is out there somewhere. Y'all remember that Trip and Pearl have been meeting up at that junkyard where Moody first took Pearl to. Well, Pearl thinks she's about to walk into this junkyard like any other day to meet Trip, and Moody is there waiting on her. And Moody was like, you didn't think I was going to put 2 and 2 together? So she's like, oh, I'm really sorry. I wanted to tell you. We were going to tell you. And Moody's like, I can't believe this. So by this time, Trip shows up. And so they kind of get into it. And they were just fussing at this point until Moody said something that hurt Trip's ego. and then Trip hits him. So then they're out there rumbling and tumbling, and Pearl is standing on the side. No, stop, don't quit, don't hit it. I was like, you caused all of this. But now you told them don't stop, don't quit, don't hit nobody. Move. I didn't feel, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't feel any type of way during this whole situation. I was like, a mess. I was like, Pearl and Trip, y'all caused this. And then Trip got the nerve to want to fight Moody because he found out that y'all was together. Like, okay. Elena comes home, and Elena finds Moody in the kitchen with a bag of peas on his eyes. He's got a black eye. And she's like, I know about you and Pearl's abortion. And he was like, what? Elena had went to the clinic where her friend works, and she was like, oh, I'm trying to see if maybe BB Child came here before she had her baby to discuss her options. Maybe she wanted, you know, an abortion, or maybe she wanted to give her up for adoption or whatever. And the lady's like, you know, that's private, that's confidential, I can't give you the information. Well, she got a call and she had to leave the room or whatever. So Elaine's like, oh, I'll stay, I'll wait. But of course, I already knew she was staying awake so she could snoop. And of course, when she left, that's exactly what she did. So she was trying to go through her computer at first and she couldn't find anything. But then she happened to look to the side and she saw Pearl's file. But we all know Pearl's file is not Pearl's file, it's Lexi's file. She found the file and she's like, oh my gosh. So she's like, she's telling Moody, I know about you and Pearl's abortion. And Moody's like, Pearl's abortion? So automatically he's like, you know, I never slept with Pearl. It's Trip's baby. So he tells Elena, he's like, talk to Trip. She's like, why would I talk to Trip? And he's like, because they've been seeing each other. At that same time, Izzy comes and she's like, Mom, there's Dad's on the phone. He's got the verdict of the custody hearing. So we all know that Linda and Mark won the custody of Maribel. And actually in the press conference, somebody asked her, they were like, would you know, be willing to let her maybe supervise visits, see her birth mother? Linda was basically saying, no, we're not gonna have none of that. I'm her mom, I'm the only mom that she needs. Back at home at Chateau Richardson, Izzy and Moody are actually watching on TV, and Moody's like, I don't even know why you're surprised. He's like, pretty people, rich people, popular people, they always get their way. They use people up, they throw them to the side, and they keep on stepping on people to get where they're trying to go. Izzy actually tells Moody, because she already knows why he's upset, she's like, get your head basically out of your behind. She's like, you don't own Pearl. Like, just because, you know, you invited her over to the house and you was nice to her doesn't mean that, you know, she belonged to you. If she wanted to be with somebody else, then that's her business. Moody tells Izzy Pearl had an abortion. And at first, Izzy was like, what? But see, Izzy's a smart one. So Izzy put 2 and 2 together real quick, because y'all remember when she found Lexi over at Mia's, and Lexi never would say why she was over there. Izzy goes to Lexi and she says, I know you had an abortion. And Lexi's like, what are you talking about? She gets really irate with her or whatever. And so Izzy's like, you need to tell Mom that you had an abortion. It's not Pearl. And Lexi's like, you can tell her whatever you want to tell her, because at the end of the day, she's not going to believe a thing that you say. And we already know I don't see it for Lexi. I was like, I was trying to feel a little sorry for you, a little sympathy last episode, you know, because I know you went through some stuff. But here you come with this out your face, girl, and I just can't, I don't see it for you. I'm probably never going to see it for Lexi. I just can't, because she's just, if it's not about her and getting her way and making sure that her image is A-okay, like, she does not care. Izzy actually runs off to Mia's house, where she finds Mia consoling BB. BB was a mess. She was crying on the floor and everything. I was like, poor thing. And Trip are talking, and Pearl's just saying how she never wanted things to happen like that. And Moody, Trip is like, oh, it'll be okay. He was like, but you still want to be with me, right? And she's kind of just like, she never wanted things to happen like that. She wanted to go down like that. But he was like, we gonna be all right, shawty. We gonna be straight. I was like, I don't know if she still want to be with you or not. Like, ease up just a little bit, just a little bit. Bill is still avoiding Elena. And Elena doesn't get it. So now she's going to tell him, she's like, let me tell you about this love triangle between Moody, Pearl, and Trip. And so she tells Bill, and Bill's like, what? And so, Bill said, I'm going to talk about that. Bill said, I'm going to talk about what you was doing up in New York. And she's like, what do you mean? So he pulls out the receipt, and he puts it down in front of her, and she was like, oh, nothing happened, you know. Yeah, I just went up there, but we just had drinks, and that was it. It was nothing. And so Bill was like, okay, this was nothing, but what about 15 years ago? And I was like, I knew he knew. Well, we knew he knew, but I didn't know if she knew that he knew about 15 years ago. So I was like, ooh, girl. So I was like, she was stammering and stuttering all over her words. I was like, Every other time you were ready to spill somebody else's tea, but now it's time to spill your own tea and you got nothing to talk about. This is when chaos ensues. So Bill storms out. Bill says, I have worked my butt off for this family. I gave you this house, these children. Elena's like, hold up, because I didn't ask for that fourth child. I told you I didn't want that. I gave up my whole career. Like, I couldn't go off to New York, and I couldn't write for the New York Times, because I always say Post. I couldn't write for the New York Times. I gave you everything. And Bill was like, you just keep going on and on and on about this, that, and the third, but you don't see that you caused these problems. You gave Mia the apartment. You brought her in our house. You took her over there to Linda's, and that's how she found out where Mei-Ling was. You caused all this, but you want to throw the responsibility off on everybody else. He's like, take responsibility for your actions and what you caused. Bill leaves. He's like, I'm out. I'll be back in a bit. He's like, I'll be back. So he left her standing in the kitchen looking shook. Elena, because, you know, her life is in shambles as usual. She's got to make somebody else feel the way she's feeling. So she runs over to Mia's. And she's like, oh, you got to be out by the morning. Mia's like, okay. So then she had the nerve to start yapping at the mouth, but you wasn't yapping a minute ago when your husband was talking to you. But she was like, oh, I know about Pearl's abortion. You know, you should be seeing about your child. And so Mia let her have it for a second. She was like, She was like, you want to talk about me as a mother, but what about you? You were negligent. You've got 2 of your children running over here to my house, and maybe had you been there for your children, your daughter wouldn't have put my daughter's name down on this on the abortion sheet, and you would have been there to help her with it. So when she put that in Elena's face, now, Elena, you was talking with all that bass in your chest a minute ago, but when Mia said it was Lexi who had that abortion, you was, I want you out by tonight. Speak up, speak up. What'd you say? Huh? So, she leaves and Mia's like, that's fine, we'll be out, we'll be gone. She leaves. Mia also said it to her too. She was like, you're miserable. And she's like, what was it? Because you gave up your dreams for it. So when Mia was like hitting the points, honey, she was getting Elena together. That's why she left hush hush, like, speak up. You came over there with all that energy, but you left real quiet. Like, she actually finds her mama in the kitchen coming undone. Like, she cannot handle the fact that Mia just told her that Lexi had an abortion. So Izzy's actually trying to tell her too. She's like, you know, Lexi had an abortion, right? She's like, oh, Izzy, I don't want to hear it. Like, it's not true. I was like, I started laughing. I was like, poor thing. Mia actually goes and she tells Pearl about Joe, and Maddie. She tells her, you know, I was supposed to be having, you know, a child for somebody else. No, but she basically just tells her everything. And she's like, you know, if you wanna, this is the first time I'll take that back. So Mia tells her, you know, she tells her everything about Joe and about Maddie. And, you know, she's just giving her all the information. She tells her, you know, your real last name is Wright, not Warren. Warren was my brother, who would be Pearl's uncle, all of that. And this is the first time I've actually seen Pearl show compassion to me. Pearl was like, oh, you'll always be my mom. I love you. Like, everything's going to be okay. I'm ready to go too. Like, you know, and Mia actually asked her about Trip. She's like, what about Trip? And I told y'all, she was looking real unsure earlier when Trip was like, oh, you still want to be with me? And she's just kind of like, oh, I'd rather just remember it the way it was and, like, just leave it. So Mia's like, well, before we go, would you like to come into my art room and help me for a second? And Pearl's like, yeah. So they go and they do whatever. And then they pack their stuff up and they leave. And they drive over to the Chateau Richardson and, like, excuse me, Pearl gets out and she puts the keys in the in their mailbox. Well, when they are there doing that, I guess the sound of the car wakes Izzy up. So Izzy actually looks out the window and she sees them leaving their keys. So she runs downstairs and runs outside, but they've driven off. But by the time she gets to the mailbox and opens it, she sees the keys. So now she knows that they're gone. Izzy starts to freak out. And speaking of freaking out, Linda had waken up like in the middle of the night because she heard Maribel fussing. Well, Mark is like, no, you know, let her settle back in. She'll be okay. She'll go back to sleep. So Linda lays back down and she goes back to sleep. Well, a little while later, she's like, oh, I'll still get up and I'll go check on her. Well, she goes to check on her and BB has taken Mei-Ling. Like, they're gone. So she's running back to Mark like, they're gone. Our baby's gone. She's gone. She took her. I was like, ooh. So back at Chateau Richardson, with Izzy's freak out, she ran in the house. She grabbed all the stuff that she had in that trash bag earlier, and she's getting ready to, she starts pouring gasoline on it. Well, Lexi runs in on her, and Lexi's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop it, stop it. And so she's calling for her mom and dad or somebody. So in run Trip and Moody. And they're like, what are you doing? And so Izzy's like, they're gone. She put them out. And, you know, of course, Trip and Moody are both looking crazy. They're like, what do you mean? She's like, Mia and Pearl, they're gone. So in runs Elena, and all the kids are asking her, like, where's Mia? Where's Pearl? And she tells Izzy, you know, get over your crush that you have on Mia. And she's like, I don't have a crush on Mia. She was like, my crush was April. We were together for a year. I was like, okay, so y'all did date. She was like, that was my girlfriend for a whole year. She's like, I just wanted her to be a mom to me, somebody who actually cared about me. Right there in front of all her kids, Elena said, I never wanted to be your mother. I was like, how could you, woman? But the way, like the way the camera angle was facing when she said that, Moody was standing right behind her, and his face, he was disgusted. I was like, I'm disgusted too. They are caving over here. They are caving, all of them, mentally caving, psychotic breaks. So Izzy runs out, and she runs down the steps, and Moody tries to go get her. He's like, please don't leave. She's like, I gotta go. So she takes off out of the house, and Trip comes down too, and Moody tells Trip, he's like, she's gone. At this same time, Lexi is telling Elena, she's like, Mom, fix it. Go get her. Mom, fix it. And Elena's like, I don't want to fix it. And so Lexi's like, well, you think Izzy is such a screw up? She's like, I'm a screw up too. I'm not perfect. So she tells her, she's like, I had an abortion. So Elena was okay, I guess, not hearing it from Lexi, like she was gonna sweep it up on the rug and act like she didn't hear it. But since Lexi told her out of her mouth, she was like, no, you didn't have an abortion. Well, basically she was trying to tell Lexi, like, you know, you're perfect. Lexi's like, I'm not perfect. She's like, yes, you are. I was like, all y'all about to be locked up in a psych ward somewhere. And so she runs in her room and she slams the door. Well, Lexi is pissed about this. So Lexi goes back to Izzy's room. She grabs the gasoline. She goes to her room and she starts. And so the boys are like, what are you doing? What are you doing? She was like, all of this. I'm sick of it. She said, I'm tired of living in this house with her. You know, living under all this pressure that she's putting us up under. I'm over it. I'm sick of it. Aren't you guys sick of it too? So everybody starts dousing their rooms in gasoline. And I was like... The whole family set the fire. I was like, oh my God, we didn't start the fire. I was like, y'all is about to go to jail. So they set the fire. House goes up in flames. And so they do run and get their mom. She in her bedroom on the bed with her hands over her ears. And I guess she was trying to block out all the information she had just received. So they go and they get her. They tell her, like, get your butt out the house before we all die. So they all, you know, go outside or whatever. Remember, Bill has been gone. So when Bill turns back on the street to go back home, house is ablaze. And so, you know, we've already seen the scene of, you know, in the very beginning, the police officers asking, you know, where is Izzy? She's a minor. Who would have set the house on fire, all of this. And Elena takes responsibility. Elena says, I set the fire, which, not figuratively, she did set the fire. You know, she's put all this pressure on her kids. She's brought all this chaos into her household, into her family. So she takes, she's like, I set the fire. So after she takes responsibility, she actually goes running now 8 episodes. Now she wants to go look for Izzy. Now she wants to be Karen and wants to love on her. It's like, you've been treating her like the bottom of your shoe for 7 and a half, because this one too, for all these episodes. Now all of a sudden you want to go find your child and tell her you love her. So she's running through the apartment, the empty apartment of Mia and Pearl, and they're not there. And they actually show a mark on the wall where they where their first birthdays, you know, when you know how parents do, like, household children are every age. Every child is up there but Izzy. But I do know they did move around the time that Izzy was born, so of course she wouldn't have been on the wall. But it's kind of a metaphor for the fact that Izzy is gone. So Miss Izzy is actually out on the highway with a thumb up trying to hitchhike. And I was like, you just gonna get in the car with a stranger? But who happens to roll by? Mia and Pearl. So they stop, because I thought for a second they were just going to pass her by. And it was going to be like a, oh, just go back home type of thing. But they stop. She gets in the car with them. And so I forgot to mention that earlier when Mia and Pearl were leaving. Mia was telling Pearl, like, if you want to go to New York, we can, you know, so she can meet Joe and stuff. And Pearl's like, no, there's somewhere else I want to go. So when Izzy got in the car with them, they take a long trip back to Pennsylvania. So they take this trip to Pennsylvania, and Mia sends Pearl in first. She was like, you know, go ahead, go meet them. So we know that this is Mia's parents' house. And this has been a long, rocky road. I can't wait to see season 2, because now Izzy is with Mia. So are they gonna do like a, oh, she kidnapped our child type, you know, because Elena loved being messy. So is she gonna be like, oh, she kidnapped our daughter, this, that, and the third? Like, how? I know eventually somebody's gonna have to go back to shake her, or either, for all I know, Elena might hunt her down, for all I know. But this was a really good season. Let me know how y'all felt about it down below. Are you anticipating season 2 like I am? Did you think it was gonna end like this? Did you think that I know there's a book, I have not read the book, but did you think that all the kids were gonna set the freaking house on fire? For a second, right there before BB snatched up Mei Ling, I thought it was gonna be BB who went and set the house on fire, but it wasn't her. But I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.